Hey, good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? This is kind of an off day live stream for me. So normally I do on Tuesday mornings for my early edition, which it's early for me, like 7 a.m. now. What time is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I started a little late again. It's kind of my signature, right? To start late my streams. I apologize for that. I'll try and be on time, but the early ones are for me are a little bit harder. But I do these streams for a lot of people that are kind of in the time zone in Australia, Indonesia, that area, because my other time slots are a little bit too early in the morning for you guys, like 2 in the morning. But anyway, oh my goodness, Jeff is here and Jonah is already. You guys are normally in the other streams. How are you doing today? The reason I'm doing it today is because tomorrow I have some other obligations that I may not be able to stream tomorrow morning. I'll try, but yeah, I have some things, and then Wednesday I have a photo job coming, so just busy this week. But Monday morning, totally clear. So I said, okay, why not? Also, yesterday I had to finish my stream early on the photo editing, so I'm gonna finish editing some photos that came in yesterday after this stream, and then some new ones came in as well. So that the photo editing live streams are always fun, at least for me. And but this stream right now is really about just kind of connecting with my viewers, maybe answering any questions you might have about any of the videos I've made on Olympus cameras or workspace, etc. And just to kind of catch up what's been going on. Yeah, 2 p.m. in Finland. Oh, good. Yeah, that's right. P, you're over there with Peter Forsgaard and Maddie Salanto, right, Jones? Couple of great photographers over there. One shoots Olympus, one shoots Panasonic, but they're both primarily Micro Four Thirds shooter. I think Maddie's actually, he's been shooting with his Panasonic. He's had a couple of videos on an S5 last couple of days. I haven't watched them yet. I need to catch up on all my friends' videos, right? But yeah, the Panasonic S5 has definitely caught my attention. I don't know why. I mean, when I really think it through, I'm like, yeah, then I have to get back in all the big lenses, and they're generally more expensive, and I don't know if I want to get into that whole carrying heavy gear again. The only reason I've been thinking about it is because I've recently been getting into more video work, and being able to shoot internally in camera at a higher bit rate, like 10-bit 422, versus we get 420 8-bit on Olympus. Since I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about I need to get another camera, maybe a Panasonic, for that higher end video capability. And if I'm going to do that, might as well maybe get a full frame in that case, but tough to call. Oh, John Ute says, jog, it's ought to be fun. Wow, you guys are all here from yesterday's stream. I was hoping to catch some new viewers here from the different time zones. Don't do it, huh? Yeah, it's a tough call. I'm not excited about it. Like it would just be a tool if I got the S5. But that's kind of an expensive one-trick pony for me, just to do a little bit of video. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe Maddie can email me or give me links that I can download some video from the S5 so I can play with it a little bit and see if it really will make much difference in my workflow. There's a lot of things you have to consider when you start doing video, is all of the larger files, the higher bit rates, the processing power of your computer. Because when you do straight conversions from just regular video, like your 1080p's, even standard 4K, the computers can handle that pretty well. At least mine can. It's just when you start doing any kind of tweaking to it, right? Adjusting for noise, adjusting for perspective correction, or leveling horizons, and then adding some LUTs, or doing any kind of color processing, and stabilization. You know, they have a software stabilization, warp stabilizer, all that stuff. That's when it starts crawling down to where it takes like, you know, 10 minutes to render a 30-second video. And it can take like 30 minutes to render 2 minutes of video. And I guess, you know, maybe I'll just have to get used to that, you know, taking 30 minutes to render 2 minutes of video, make that part of the workflow. But that's a pretty big bite to chew off for me. I don't know, maybe that's what all videographers are doing, you know. Yeah, the lens will always be heavy, right, John? So that's my main concern with going to even a higher bit rate type video is, you know, am I going to start waiting an hour or 2 hours to render 2 minutes of video? That I just don't know. I'll have to watch some more, because, you know, I was watching, what's his name, Max Urev, where he had a creator laptop where it was you know, it was just screaming through all this video with LUTs and grading applied. And I'm like, why can't I duplicate that kind of performance on my laptop, you know? I get that part of it has to do with some of the software where they take advantage of the Intel QuickSync, and then they also, the NVIDIA drivers that take advantage of some of the encoding and decoding of H.264 and 265, which, you know, I don't have any software that does that. You know, I have the free version of DaVinci Resolve, which is all CPU based. It doesn't use any of the encoders, decoders in the CPU or the graphic card. So that's something I might have to invest in first, is getting a studio version, which does do the video encoding for you in software, or in the video card and the CPU. But you know, that's $300. And then there's another software I used to use a lot, Video Studio Pro from Corel, and it's not quite as stable as DaVinci has been. But I used to, you know, my very early videos, I'd say the first 6 months or so of my tutorials and thing, I used Video Studio Pro for that. And it worked great on that computer at the time. But with my new computer and the new Windows, I don't know, there's been a lot of updates in, you know, 4 years, right? The last trial I downloaded, it just kept crashing on me. I couldn't render anything. I didn't even get one video rendered, so I ended up not buying it. But it's like, you know, it goes on sale for like $60, $70 all the time. And it does supposedly do the CPU and GPU rendering, encoding, which would drastically improve the processing time of video. Oh, hey Wahab, how are you? You know, Wahab, I remember you had a question about doing video, in fact, and you said that recommendation I made on the settings and stuff worked for you. I forget what the other question was, though. I thought you had a follow-up where when the lighting starts to get darker, right? Because you do videos in the morning or you do them in the evening, but in 30 minutes the lighting changes, right? Really what you should think about, because with the M10 you're a little bit limited in video capability. And because your videos are very static, like you're not like doing sports action type video, you're just kind of doing, you know, talking head dialogue. I wouldn't worry about doing the 180 rule so much, and just let the camera handle the exposure. You know, just go into aperture priority and just let the camera pick the ISO and shutter speed. You know, you can lock, you can't even lock, yeah. When you're in aperture priority in video, the only thing you have control over is the aperture, but then the camera will pick the shutter speed and ISO. Honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about it with the kind of video you do, but if you are concerned about it, or you want to kind of take your video to the next level, you need to be shooting in full manual in video, and then add your own lighting, right? so that the lighting on your face or the subject, the talent, is consistent so that you can lock your settings in manually. And you know, I use like just an umbrella here, and I shoot in full manual when I'm doing these live streams. And actually, I think I'm just an aperture priority, come to think of it. But I could shoot in full manual. And because my lighting is consistent, because I have my own light source. And in video outdoors, yeah, you need pretty powerful lights, but you could probably get away with, I'll have to try this for myself to see if 150 watt LED light would be enough to keep the lighting on you consistent. I'm not sure if that would even be enough. Because that's what I'm using, you know, indoors. I don't need that much. I'm using, I think these are like 15 watt LEDs indoors. So they're 75 watt equivalent lights. And I'm thinking outdoors, I have a 150 watt LED, which is probably a 400 watt equivalent. I don't know what the equivalent is, but it's pretty bright. And I only paid, I think $25 or $30 for it off Amazon. And when I bought it because, like I said, I'm starting to do video work for my real estate work, and I just need more light sometimes. So I got that light to help me with that. But I haven't tried it outdoors, like with an umbrella, to use it as soft lighting for video like you do. But that's really where you need to go in terms of stepping up your video game, regardless of the camera. I mean, sure, there are cameras now that, particularly like I think Panasonic, I haven't tried my EM1 Mark III, but there are cameras that, you know, will do auto ISO in full manual, right? You can set the shutter speed, aperture, frame rate, but then the ISO will adjust to the lighting conditions. That would be the ideal situation for you. But since the M10 doesn't do that, you have to do these workarounds. And I would consider maybe bringing some artificial lighting if you can. I mean, I think the videos I saw you do, you'd need a pretty long extension cord to bring the light outdoors, or maybe you can change locations or start shooting indoors next to a window. But yeah, anyway, I think that's it. Okay, so you've been commenting back here. It says, yes, I tried that and it works. I'm trying to figure out a way to do the same with my Nikon D5300. I've ordered some lighting and I intend to learn shooting with umbrellas. I will try to do it next week. Yeah. Yeah, so get the umbrella to be as close as you can to you, just slightly out of frame, like the umbrella I'm using now. You know, if I just tilt this a little bit, well, I don't want to mess up my stream, but it's right here, like arm's length away from me. And so I just have this one umbrella light, and then I just have the ceiling light here in the room. But I'm using just standard LED light bulbs that I bought from the hardware store or Walmart. I forget where I bought it, but these are the GE HD LEDs. So I paid a little bit more, but I think I only paid like $3 a bulb, you know. And supposedly they have a little bit better CRI and better color rendition, because you can buy really cheap LEDs that have terrible color rendition, meaning, you know, when you put the light on you, you know, the colors are not going to be right. So who else is coming in here? Oh, Liz is here. Hi. And no, it's not lemon honey. Actually, this is some kind of multi oat thing. I don't know what it is exactly. Some kind of wheat and malt drink. Because I had my coffee this morning already, so I said rather than get, you know, all jacked up on coffee, I just made some kind of hot cereal, which is basically what it is. Yeah, but that's, excuse me, hold on. Oh, when I wake up in the morning, my lungs are very congested. I think it's just allergies, uh, but yeah, I think finally, at least for now, my sleep schedule's pretty good, where I can go to bed early and get up early so I can start these streams earlier, and I'm not dying. And I did that mainly so I can go out to the photo clubs on the weekends, because they get up very early to go out. But I have to say the lighting's really good in the morning. I was surprised, but now that it's winter, it's getting so cold. I'm sorry, it's only fall. Fall starts tomorrow. Oh, I can't believe it. We were like down in the 40s, last night. Somebody said even the 30s, which, in Fahrenheit, which is closer to 0 Celsius. And, just last week I had my AC on because it was hot. So it's like, God flipped the switch and said, okay, it's fall. And Wahab says, I'm thinking about buying a Nikon Z5 in the near future, and I do hope that it will be able to change exposure with the changing lighting conditions. The Z5, oh yeah, that's that full frame they just came out with. Yeah, the best thing to do is just download the user manual from Nikon and look it up. Because, a lot of times the video reviews and things like that, they don't get into those very fine details, right, about the camera. So anytime I'm interested in a camera, or somebody has a question about a camera, I just download the manual for it and look it up. And even then, sometimes, the manual doesn't tell you exactly, right? But usually it'll give you an idea that it should be able to tell you if the camera can or cannot do that, right? So I would think something like that, it should tell you. But the Z5, yeah, that's got the Z mount, full frame, kind of small. And it's $1,400. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. I don't know. I think the S5 might be a better option for video, because I know that will have certainly the video capability that you need. And that's why I'm considering it. I'm not considering the Z5 because I know this S5 from Panasonic is certainly more capable for video. Yeah, they throw away the manual in the unboxing videos, right? And that's why a lot of my videos, the most popular ones, really are the ones where I kind of deep dive into the menus and show all the little caveats and contradictions, right? The fine print in using the camera. Because, like, somebody posted yesterday, I forget who it was, about I made a video about using quick sleep mode. And I forgot to mention that you need to take the camera out of the EVF off of high speed, because I forget exactly what it's called, but you can set your EVF to be high frame rate, like 120 FPS in the EVF, or you can set it to standard. And if you have that set to high, you cannot enable quick sleep mode. And yeah, it's a very, very, very fine print in the user manual about that. It does like a little asterisk, that says quick sleep won't work if you have this other thing set. Oh, the audio? Yeah. Yeah, I switched over to this just a lav mic instead of using the USB mic that I had. I'm still using a USB audio interface. It's my God, it's the whatchamacallit, the H1N, Zoom H1N. That's been sitting on my shelf for almost 2 years. I never used it. I don't know why I bought it. And then I saw that you can use it as an audio interface, right, to your PC, meaning I can hook up standard mics via USB to my computer. So I hooked it in and it worked, and that's the audio I'm using now. And yeah, I think the sound is better. Someone said they like the other sound better, but to my ears, this one sounds a lot better. And then John Utsa says, figuring out the light equivalents of different types of light bulbs is like figuring out the crop factor. Yeah, yeah, I know. And you know, I try to look at the lumens. They say this is rated for 800 lumens, 1600 lumens. But then even then, I think that's standardized to where it's how many lumens at 1 meter, right? How bright is the light at 1 meter? I forget exactly the spec. I just look at the number. And this one says 800, this says 1000. But you have to be careful, right? Sometimes when I'm looking at the fine print, it'll say, yeah, this is at a half a meter. I'm like, well, then this is really half as bright, given if they have the same luminosity number, whatever number they're using. But I think lumens should be standardized to how bright is something at 1 meter. I think that's the standard. I can't remember now because now I just look at the number, right? And these are 1000 lumen bulbs, light bulbs that I'm using today. So this one's going through an umbrella and that one's just in the ceiling bare. So this one adds a little bit of hard light. As you can see, like the wrinkles in my shirt here versus, you know, this light over here is a little bit softer because it's coming through the umbrella. So it's kind of mixed for me today. Oh, you have the H1N, right? And you love it. Okay, you can record in full auto on Zoom H1N and be okay. Yeah, that's true. If you record audio separately and you mount it securely in a way that it's not going to get, you know, ruffle noise and things, yeah, it has really good audio, very clear. But I could not deal with the, you know, it's really long, right? It's kind of big to mount on top of the camera. And when I put it in my pocket, you have to use it with a lav mic. You can't just use it bare. And it's kind of bulky too, right? Even in your pockets. So I didn't find much use for it because it was kind of, because of the size of it, even though it's a very compact recorder. So I ended up buying this thing. From Olympus. This is the Olympus Vp10. You know, it's just a pen recorder, and this has excellent audio as well. And I got it at refurb for like $35. So this is what I use now if I want to record audio externally. And I used to use this a lot. So if you see some of my older videos where you'll see this kind of stuck in my shirt underneath, this end will be sticking out. And what I like about it is the record switch is right here on top. So I don't have to take it out of my pocket to use it. I can just flip it on and off with my thumb while it's, you know, positioned where it needs to be. So I would put it here, for example. See, it's not really noticeable, and I could just flip it on and off with my thumb without taking it out and looking at it. So that's what I liked about this, using it for vlogging and things. And the audio quality is very good and very little ruffle noise. So if I hold this microphone in my hand and it's moving around, you don't get all that kind of ruffling sound that you do with the H1N. The H1N, if I'm just hand holding it, wow, yeah, you have to be really, like, don't move at all. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get a lot of noise. So this is one of my favorite mics for external recording. And I've tried cheaper ones, like $16 ones that I got, you know, off Amazon. And the audio quality was terrible. You know, it just wasn't anywhere near what this could do, even with a lav mic attached. Oh, you're Casper, you're listening in while driving? Wow. Drive carefully. Oh, Sephrin is here. Sephrin, you've been like posting like crazy in my forum. I checked them out this morning. You made a few posts this past few days. Finally, I'm caught up, I think. I can't even remember what they are now. Why do some photographers underexpose their portraits so badly and then they pull the exposure up extremely high again to develop the photos? I noticed it with Instagram. Oh, I think because they don't want to blow any highlights, right? I mean, I'd have to see an example of what you're talking about. But a lot of times people's skin will have a little bit of oil, right? And it shines. and it can blow out potentially, you know, clip the highlights on a person's face. So they underexpose it so that they don't get any shine anywhere, and they can bring the shadows up and retain the highlights. Because as you know, once the highlights are blown, they're gone. And shadow noise is not a big deal in portraits, right? Usually you can crush the shadows just enough so that the noise is not noticeable while retaining the highlights. So that's the only thing I can think of, you know, why they would do that. You know, same idea of just retaining, the idea of just retaining highlights and not clipping them. Oh, Jock uses Sennheiser. That's right, Mr. Moneybags. You know, it's like $500-600 for a freaking boom mic, right? For Sennheisers. I mean, they have cheaper ones. I was looking at $150 Sennheiser ME6, I think. Just a short boom mic, and but then I'd have to buy an audio interface. So if you're gonna get a nice mic, you need to get a nice audio interface, and those are running in between $400 and $800. And I'm like, wow, yeah, it gets expensive fast in audio, just like in camera gear and lenses. You know, audio is kind of the same thing. You can get really, really expensive. And, you know, for very minor differences. I think in a live stream, nobody's going to notice the difference. You know, yeah, some might sound a little better than others, but it's not like night and day. You know, I'm using like a $20 lav mic right now. And I got a $70 lav mic that, you know, you really can't tell much difference. Very subtle. And of course, there's much more expensive lav mics. There's much more expensive audio equipment. The only thing I have that's Sennheiser is I have a really nice pair of headphones that are Sennheiser. Those were like $300 or $400. I don't know. It was a gift, so I didn't have to buy it myself, because I would never buy a $300-400 pair of headphones, because my hearing's not that great anyway. And you know, and those headphones are a little bit bassy, I guess. You know, the neatest headphones I've ever seen were those ones where they're noise canceling. Golly, I just couldn't believe it. You know, they have like their own little microphone in them to cancel out external noise. And when I put those on, you know, somebody would be talking to me and their mouth would just be moving, but I couldn't hear them. I was really impressed with the noise canceling ability of those headphones. Oh, Mark Wolf is here. How are you? Is it exposed to the left for digital and exposed to the right in film, or the other way around? No, it's the other way around. It doesn't, honestly, it doesn't matter. Exposed to the left. I mean, those are very, very generic terms, right? Exposing to the left, exposing to the right. What you're really doing is you're just looking at your histogram and trying to figure out what your tolerance is for clipping on either end. And film typically is better at retaining highlights than than digital sensors. So you want to expose to the right for film more so than to the left. And for digital's better usually at recovering shadows than it is highlights. So you can expose to the left, but it seems to be popular for people to say, I'm exposing to the right even when they're using digital, but they're exposing to the right up until the point that the highlights don't clip. And because they want to recover as much shadow detail as possible with less noise. You know, I don't really follow either technique. I mean, I guess they're legitimate techniques for photography, and it's good to learn to use them and get some experience with them. But in general practice, when I'm photographing, I don't worry about exposing to the left or right, because you're pushing the camera to its limits when you have to do those kinds of exposures. And when you start pushing the camera near its limits, if it's an option, I prefer to just bracket the shot and eliminate that problem altogether. So I'll over and underexpose and get 3 shots, right? I'll overexpose by 2 stops, underexpose by 2 stops, and then have 1 normal exposure, and then blend them in post-processing. So I don't have to worry about exposing to the left or exposing to the right. You know, I've captured all of the detail that would be necessary. And that's more than enough, particularly if you're going to be exporting to a JPEG, because JPEGs only have 8 stops total dynamic range. And your cameras generally have 7 stops of usable range. So when you over and underexpose and bracket and then blend those back together, you're way beyond, you know, what most, you know, any JPEG file can handle, and certainly more than most monitors and screens and phones and tablets that people use daily to consume media, right? Photography and video. So you know, for me, bracketing or using a flash, you know, to bring the shadows up, I don't like using expose to the left, expose to the right. And that's why you don't really see any videos from me on those 2 topics, right? Because it's a technique of pushing your camera near its limits. And when you start doing that, you do start to lose detail and color resolution and all kinds of things. Versus if you were to properly expose the image using proper lighting, like maybe adding a flash or doing bracketing and then blending those back in post, you'll get a much better result than trying to use this other technique. And the only time you really need to use it is when you really have to get the exposure in 1 shot. Then you can use that, but it will never be as good as other techniques like I said, adding light or bracketing. When you can't add your own light, you bracket. And used to be foot candles for measuring light. Yeah, I know there's so many different ways that people or these products talk about the light output of a device. You know, if it's a light bulb you buy off the shelf, you know, usually I see lumens, right? And when I look at lighting online, video lighting, they talk about lux. And when you're buying monitors, you know, the brightness of the monitor, they talk about in nits. And it's like, so there's so many different standards of light. I think Gerald Undone did a video about the different types of standards for measuring the light. You know, like a flash, you know, studio strobes, they talk about watt seconds, 200 watt second, 400 watt second, 600 watt, you know. And then I saw another one that I never seen before, and I'm like, oh, it's so confusing. So I try to buy the cheapest, brightest thing I can, and that uses the same standard as another light I might be interested in. That's a quality light. So that's why I bought like a $25 150 watt LED. Supposedly it has a 90 CRI, which is good enough for video work that I'm doing, you know, real estate photography. But if I were doing any kind of serious videography, 90 CRI is not going to cut it. You know, it's not going to have the same color resolution, say, as something that's 95, 96, 97 CRI. And in addition to CRI, there's another measurement. I can't remember now what it is. And the problem is you have to trust the manufacturers reporting the correct, you know, numbers on their products. Because who knows, you know, if it's right or not. Until you start to use it, you don't really know the kind of quality you're getting unless it's from a reputable brand. But then you're spending, you know, thousands of dollars on lighting, which I don't, you know, I just can't justify that kind of expense. And yeah, it's lighting, it's like every aspect of media, whether it's photography or video or audio, any kind of media, any individual component of those of that kind of production can scale up quite a bit in terms of, you know, your expertise and skill set that you need to do well, and cost. You know, so if you want excellent audio, yeah, you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars. If you want excellent lighting, same thing. You want excellent video, same. Excellent photography. It's like all of these things can get really, really expensive very fast, and they all require their own set of special skills. So that's why it's not an easy task a lot of times for a photographer to learn video, right? Because there's a whole different set of criteria that you have to consider in video. You know, you have your frame rate, like your frame rate, which is different than your shutter speed, and then following a 180 rule, maybe not. And the controls are different sometimes, like you lose manual ISO or auto ISO in manual mode sometimes, and they have scopes, and they have this other meter. They have all kinds of ways to look at the light, and a lot of times in video you're looking at the lighting and color, how much lighting each color is outputting. And you know, they got the false color monitors. It's like, you know, it's a whole different genre, right? Videography. And then sound is another thing. You know, you have your hertz over kilohertz. I don't know, bit rate over kilohertz over bit rate. So like right now I'm just using 16-bit 48 kilohertz, I think. And it's kind of just a standard sound, right? It's not the high quality. You know, you can do 24-bit 96 kilohertz. And I'm sure it goes even higher. I don't know. I'm not really an audio guy, right? And then the microphones have their own frequency response, and it just, oh my God, it just, you can go, like I said, you can really get into every aspect of every type of media that will just, you know, there's just this huge learning curve at every step. Never mind, you know, all of the hardware that has to support that. You know, you need to start buying computers and monitors, and how much RAM do you need, what kind of processing power, what software, what kind of monitors, you know. And as you know, computer equipment can get very, very expensive very quickly. So at some point, I have to make compromises, right? And you know, ultimately, I want the very best photographic quality. You know, that's kind of my goal. I'm primarily a photographer, but working on YouTube and also in my professional work where people are starting to ask for video. That's why I'm starting to get into this other stuff in a little more detail with lighting and bit rates and all the other things that video needs. Is very, very different because you need constant lighting, you need higher bit rates, you know, for more motion, higher frame rates for being able to do slow motion, you know, and smoother slow motion, I should say. So I can appreciate a little bit about when I watch things on YouTube, I can appreciate the work that they did to get, you know, what they, I guess the short term is production quality. The production quality of video, when I see a well done video, I'm starting to more appreciate how they did it with the combination of all those things I've been talking about today. So it's not an easy thing, right? Like just getting the lighting right for my live stream took a lot of experimentation. If you watch my live streams from early on to now, you can see every video or every handful of videos here and there's a difference in the lighting, a change in the lighting, because I was trying something else and it looks good temporarily, but then I'll say, you know, this particular lighting just is not flattering in this aspect, or the quality of the light I was using is very low. But I think I've come up finally with I'm content with the lighting now. It feels about right to me. Oh God, excuse me. It feels about right to me, but I'm still thinking about changing the lighting setup again, because I want a little more rim lighting on my head, which I've kind of lost. Oh, hey John. No, it's not the, yeah, it's not really a new Monday chat. It's like I may or may not be able to do a live stream tomorrow on Tuesday. So I thought I'd just do one today because I have to make up for yesterday's live stream that I didn't finish the video editing, or I'm sorry, the photo editing stream. So I was setting up a photo editing stream to finish the ones that I had yesterday. And I said, you know what, if I'm going to be up, I might as well do a live stream because Tuesday I have some other obligations that I have to do. And then Wednesday I have a photo job, but so that's why. And then last week someone asked me to do a Monday photo stream, and I said, yeah, why not? You know, I'm home, I'm up, you know, I just have to turn the camera on and lights, and I can live stream on Monday, live stream 24/7, whatever, right? And Wahab is saying, yeah, instead of focusing on quality, focus on content, right? Basically, and yeah, and that ultimately that's all that matters, right? Is do you have quality content? That needs to stand on its own before any kind of production quality. But I think it has to be a blend. It has to be a blend where the content has to be just good enough in the you know, it's a compromise, right? You don't have to have perfect, because there's a lot of channels that the content's okay, it's just good enough for me to watch it, but then the production quality is so good it makes it entertaining and easy to watch and consume, right? So you can kind of look at it both ways. You know, like I think Casey over there, Casey is a good case study, right? His production quality is better now, but it's still, you know, very amateur, right? But his content is very entertaining. So he's kind of very heavily skewed on the content and entertainment value versus the production quality. And then Frono's photo, he's got both, right? He's got very high production quality, like in his photo news fixes, and he has a high entertainment value. You know, love him or hate him, I really like Frono's photo. Even though he hates Micro Four Thirds. I love his channel because I find him very entertaining. The content itself, I would say, is average when he's doing his photo news fix, because it's nothing you can't just go to 43 Rumors or Canon Rumors or whatever rumor site and read for yourself and get much more detail, right? The news itself, I don't find enlightening, so to speak. But he presents it, at least for me, in a very entertaining way, and the production quality is very high. So that's why I like it. So I would say, as a beginning videographer or content creator, focus on your content. That has to be pretty solid. And then the quality, the audio, the video, and everything just has to be good enough so that people aren't, you know, gouging their eyes out trying to watch or listen to what you have to say. But that said, when you start improving your production quality and entertainment value, like Casey, you know, those things will help you grow just as much as having good content in of itself. Because there's very few channels that I can think of that rely on their content alone, and you know, because then it just becomes like a news channel and very boring, right? Somebody like the angry photographer, right? Very low production quality, but you know, the content value, at least early on for me, was very high. I really enjoyed his channel early on when he was talking about Nikon glass and cameras. And then he switched over to Fuji, and I started to lose a little bit of interest at that point. And now I don't watch his channel hardly at all because I don't even know what he talks about anymore, to be honest. But early on, yeah, his content and his channel grew on his content alone. No production quality, very little entertainment value, at least for me. You know, I went there strictly for the informational value, but his entertainment value was very low. Occasionally he had his little puppet thing, and he would do things sometimes that were remotely entertaining. And I assume he still has a very good following and has some entertainment value for his followers. You know, if you connect with him, great. But I've kind of lost a little bit of, you know, I lost interest in watching his channel. You know, I'll catch it time to time because his thumbnails are always coming up, right? You know, when you open up YouTube, you get thumbnails of related content. His thumbnails always come up, and if it looks like something I might be interested in watching, I'll click on it. But there's certain channels that, you know, if I see the video, I always click on it because I know what I'm going to expect, and I enjoy their content and I connect with them, etc. You know, Rob and Peter, Fro. I almost always click on their stuff. And Camera Conspiracies, a little bit less lately. When he first started his channel, I watched him a lot, but I haven't watched him too much lately. He's talking about all these full frame cameras, and I'm just not interested really. Oh, okay. Jeff Painter says, what 1 foot candle is 1 lumen per square foot, which is equivalent to 10.7 lux? Okay. So per square foot. I wonder if these other these other lighting metrics are met because of the metric system. I don't know. And then Mom says, sure, but videos with cute babies and cute kittens have millions of likes and subs and stuff. People want entertainment. Yeah, entertainment always wins, right? Music videos, cat videos, those things. You want to see a video that has a lot of hits, is like that Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my God, I think they got a billion views. I mean, some ridiculous number. You think Fro is very irritating? Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, he's got a very big personality, so you either really like it or you hate it. There's very few people in between. Because he just doesn't allow for that, right? When you have a big personality, you become kind of polarizing, right? Where people are going to love you or hate you. I just can't see too many people that watch him and just with a blank face and don't have any reaction one way or the other. Oh, Fotis, how are you? Oh, Mark Denny? I've never heard of him, Wahab. Mark Denny has good content? He on YouTube? Let's see. What is Mark Denny? Mark Denny. Oh, I've seen his face before. I have watched his videos. Not recently, but yeah. Yeah. He has good content. I watched, you guys can't see this, but this guy here, let me go to his channel. I watched a couple of his videos that were, let me see if I can find ones that I thought were really good. Yeah, all his editing videos are pretty good. This one was okay. The best tool for improving composition? It's okay. I would watch, I could recommend that one. But yeah, he has pretty high, very high level of content. It's very, very good. And its production quality, I would say, is like probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. You know, mine being about a 2 or 3 in production quality, but he would be like a 7 or 8. Whereas I would put somebody like, you know, Fro, probably 9, you know, very high production quality. But anyhow, yeah, Mark Denny, he's really good. So good recommendation there. And Marco says, angry photographer, I have a tattoo of Nikon on my hand, but all their new cameras suck and get a Fuji instead. Yeah, he switched over to Fuji pretty much. And John says, or Robert Kulip says, just fine. Oh, okay, Robert. Good. There's so much still video and content out there, and the quality varies so much that I don't think the average person has high expectations for image quality anymore. That's a tough call. I think, yeah, people's expectations are certainly all over the place, but for the channel to grow, I think something has to stand out, content or production quality. And if you have both, you know, like a music video, very high production quality, very high entertainment value, and it's original artistic kind of thing, you know what I mean? Those videos do the best on YouTube, right? Music videos by far. But anyhow, you know, some consumers are very content orientated. They just want the information, right? So like my channel, you know, the tutorials and things that I do, yeah, are a little bit dry and the entertainment value is pretty low, but I think the content is pretty solid for the most part for beginning photographers. But the entertainment value is not there. That's why my channel doesn't really grow much, right? If you look at my channel, my God, I've been at 20,000 something forever, right? It just won't grow. But you know, other channels, you know, my God, they just exploded, right? Like Robin's up to 30,000 now, and Peter's been over 30,000 for a long time. And they're gonna grow even, you know, larger. You know, hopefully they get to 100,000. Because the good thing about their channels, from my perspective, right, they provide valuable content and, you know, very entertaining. But when people watch their videos, 9 times out of 10, my video will come up as a recommendation. So I'm kind of riding on their coattails a little bit. So I'm always happy when they produce videos out, because then they lead back to my channel eventually. And Mark Denny is an outdoor photographer, and I love his content and his quality of videos, both indoor and outdoors. Yes. Yeah, Mark is a good guy and has a really good personality, I think, for YouTube, right? It's very relaxing. I don't know, he doesn't have a huge personality, but he has a very genuine sincerity about him, right, when he's talking. So, and that comes across really well. And was thinking more of stills than video. Oh, I suppose, you know, but you know, my perspective is different because I do paid work, but my production quality and my stills and video have to be the very best that I can do. They're still not at a level that I'm comfortable with. I know I can do better, particularly on the video side, but even photographically speaking, I have a lot of room for improvement. But it's good enough that I can charge for it right now, right? But I've certainly seen some competition or competitive photography in my field, real estate, where I was really impressed with the work that they did, because I could look at the image and see that they really did a really good job at controlling the lighting inside and balancing the light throughout the entire scene and balancing the color. Because I'm dealing with the same types of things where there's color and white balance is all over the place in the same scene, and lighting is all over the place in the same scene. And it's a lot of work to balance, you know, the lighting so you don't get harsh shadows, so that you don't get mixed white balances. It's real estate photography can be very challenging in that respect. And, you know, I oversimplify it when I talk about it sometimes. You know, you just pop a flash, it bounces. Yeah, sometimes it can be that easy. You know, I'll go to a photo job and I'm done in 30 minutes, and then it only takes me another 30 minutes to edit, right? Then I had a photo job last week where I spent about an hour, hour and a half photographing the site. And then I spent over 2 hours editing the GD things. And it should not have taken me that long to edit that photo shoot, or even to take pictures for that long. It should have taken me less than an hour. But that particular property had lots of harsh shadows, lots of mixed lighting, and I just didn't have really the proper gear to do it properly, or the skill set and experience to work with the gear that I had. And it kind of goes back to my saying that the higher the level of your skill set, the less the gear matters. And I know that if my skill set was higher, I could have done a better job and done it faster. Or if I had a little better gear, my skill set's at a point to where I know if I had this other gear, I would have done a better job. But ultimately, the skill set was the challenge I had. It's not a kind of property I normally do. It's a residential property. I do mostly commercial, but residential's more challenging because of the mixed lighting and the shadows. Because most commercial properties are pretty much wide open spaces, and you don't have to worry about it too much. Harsh shadows or mixed lighting, you know, to some extent, but not to the extent like in a residential property where you have different color walls, different types of lighting. Sometimes the furniture is throwing off color casts. People paint their walls yellow and green. It's like, so it takes a pretty high level skill set to overcome the challenges of real estate photography, you know, a lot of times. Now I don't even know why I got on this rant, but anyway. Oh, because John was saying he's thinking more about stills than videos. So that's my perspective. Is very different because you want to go from, say, enthusiast, and maybe you're thinking about becoming a professional photographer, meaning, I'm not saying you're going to make a lot of money, but you want to get paid for your photography. Your skill set has to be pretty high because it's very, very competitive. And I think real estate photography is actually probably has the lowest, is the least path of resistance to getting paid work, right? You just have to get your lines straight, and you're halfway there if you get your lines straight. And then if you can balance color and lighting, I would say balance the lighting first. You're another 25% there. And then if you can balance the color, the lighting, and get your lines straight, you're almost all there. Then you have to think about composition and other things. I mean, you know, you get that with experience. So, but to me, I think if you're thinking about ever doing anything professionally or getting paid for your work, you know, you should think about real estate photography. There's plenty of business out there. And, you know, if I can make a couple $100 for half a day's work, that includes driving time, I'm happy. You know, there are photographers out there that do like 4 or 5 properties a day, and so they'll end up with like 20 properties a week, and they're cranking out. They're making good money, right? But you know, I'm not that ambitious. You know, I'm happy with just getting a few jobs a week, 2-3 jobs a week at most, and I'm happy. And then the other half I just spend doing YouTube and hanging out and talking stuff. You know, I'm just at a point I don't want to work that hard, you know, so I'm not as ambitious as I was when I was young. But yeah, my 20s and 30s, I was very ambitious. And if I was in the photography back then, yeah, I'd be cranking out. I'd be doing my best to be doing 20-30 jobs a week. But anyhow, that's a whole different topic, right? Motivation, ambition, goals, right? But in terms of making money, if there's other forms of making money in photography that are easier than real estate, I should say, I don't know what it is, honestly. Because portrait photography, maybe, like doing family portraits and things, But then the hardest things are like doing weddings, like Jimmy Chang does. You know, I think Maddie and Peter, right? They do some product photography, industrial photography. You know, they make money that way. Now I think they've transitioned more, at least Peter's transitioned more into tutorials and training. But you'll have to ask him. I don't know for sure. I can only speak for myself. And to me, I feel like real estate photography is the easiest way to get into getting paid for your skill set versus anything else. If there is something else out there, I don't know what it is. It might be. There might be. Just I don't know. And what do we think about Ken Rockwell? Yeah, he's hardcore photographer, right? Lots of he's really into gear. Yeah, I check out his website time to time. I haven't watched his videos since he started coming onto YouTube. I think I saw one where he was talking about one of the Nikon cameras. But yeah, I go to his site time to time to look at old vintage lenses and cameras and stuff. He really has a huge database of that stuff. I mean, just like everything, you know, if you're interested in something and you find somebody that has a lot of experience, you know, you go to their site, but always do your due diligence, right? Don't just look at one person's site and take their word for it. Cross-reference that with other people with similar experience and see if they are in line with what maybe Ken Rockwell is saying. And once you've done all that due diligence, then you can make a buying decision. If you're not trying to make a buying decision and you're just into the history of cameras and things, you know, then yeah, like I said, he has really a pretty wide spectrum of content that I think will reach out to a lot of different kinds of photographers, not just people trying to buy gear, make buying decisions, but people that like the history, because he always puts a little bit of history about the cameras, when they were made, and his experience with them, if any. So he has a pretty good blend there of content, I think. So definitely check him out. I don't know how his videos are. The one that I saw was okay. Just kind of normal. You know, it wasn't bad, wasn't great. It's just a normal video. Thanks, Robert. You said my tutorials are great or excellent. Don't care if they're a little dry. I'll try and make them more entertaining, but it's hard. You know, when I start thinking about teaching something, I don't want to miss anything or skip any steps that might be confusing to a beginning photographer, so then it ends up being dry. Oh, and Mark Wolf thinks they're professional and gets to the point. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't have any fluff in my videos, right? Like my tutorials and things. I just start working the camera. Yeah, the entertainment value is pretty low, but I think the content value is pretty high, relatively speaking. Because when your entertainment value is near zero, anything else is going to be higher. How much demand is there for 360 at the present? In my little niche of the world, it's I would say it's getting higher. How high relative to stills photography? Because I do mostly commercial, and 360 is not a big deal. But on the residential side, because I think of Zillow, they use 360, the Matterport 360, a lot. And it's driving business to their brokerage versus other brokerages. And the higher end real estate agents, like one that I'm working with, does do Matterport 360 videos through another company she hires. And that's really why I'm not getting a lot of her businesses, because I don't do, at this point, 360 videos, especially Matterport, where they got the dollhouse effect and everything. So I'm trying to build up that skill set. I'm starting with this cheapo 360R camera, wherever it is. I think it's in my car right now, but I'm trying to build up that skill set, and then maybe I'll start to do a few demos. What I usually do is I'll do like a photo job for free, just to demonstrate. I'll say, look, I'll do this property for free for you. You know, you can If you like it, you can use the photos, etc. If you don't like them, you don't have to use them. You didn't pay anything, you know. And I'll do it very quickly so they can find an alternative. And that's how I get business sometimes. Is I'll offer to do the first photo job for free, right? Just so that they can see my work, because I'm still not. I don't have this huge portfolio of images, right, and a website that shows off what I do. And my schedule is pretty free that I can do things like that. If I was a really hard-working real estate photographer and constantly out doing jobs, yeah, I wouldn't have time for that, or the patience. You know, I'm like, here's my portfolio. Go to my website. You know, I have all these references and referrals that, you know, if you want me to do anything for you, it's, you know, you need to pay. Maybe I'll give you a little discount on the first job, but with this agent, I didn't give her any freebies. You know, I just gave her a discount on the first job, and you know, I charged her like half what I normally do. But the very next job and the subsequent jobs with her, I charged almost full price. I still gave her a little discount, but, you know, certainly a lot more than I did on her first job. But yeah, 360 video, I think overall I don't feel like there's a lot of demand for it, mostly because of the cost of doing them, right? They're not cheap to make. And Matterport, they're not cheap to host and continue hosting. So a lot of agents don't invest that kind of money in 360. So I think the main barrier is the cost for a lot of agents. And then the second thing is, you know, how many customers really go into a house online and do 360 walkthroughs. You know, I think just a grid of pictures of the property are good enough, and then they want to go see it. Large properties, high-end properties, a lot of times they're bought sight unseen. You know, the buyer never went to the property, so 360 video becomes very important, right? So I can't really answer that question. All I can tell you is in my little world, I'm starting to see some demand, and I am starting to lose business because I cannot offer it. So that's why I'm trying to build up that skill set. But up till now, like in the last 4 or 5 years, it really hasn't been an issue at all. Anger photographers following mostly insecure Fuji shooters who constantly need to hear they made a good shot. If somebody's insecure about their purchase, regardless of brand, they're going to watch whoever to justify their purchase, right? Doesn't have to be Fuji. It could be any brand. Again, it's that psychology thing, right? If you're if you're insecure about something, you have to look at yourself and why are you insecure about your decisions, and not trying to reach out to other channels or other media that will justify your purchase. And Wob says, I'm sorry, I had to attend something. Can you please repeat your focal length and aperture if you already answered? I mean, the settings you're using right now. Oh, I'm using a 25 millimeter. I believe I'm at f2. I might be at f1.8, but, you know, same thing, right? And I'm at, I don't even know. I'll look. Hold on. Okay. I'm using, I'm in full HD 30p frame rate. My shutter speed's at 1/40th of a second. My aperture is at f1.8, and I'm at ISO 200 on a 25 millimeter lens. So I'm not even using the 180 rule, and you know, it looks fine, right? That's what I'm saying. A lot of people are so hung up on this 180 rule. You don't need to be for static talking head videos like this, really. But those are my settings. And Mark Twill says, how do I get started as a real estate photographer? Well, you need to have one person that's into real estate. Either the way I got into it, if I remember correctly, was I was one of my clients for something not photography related. I was doing some consulting. Was buying a property or selling a property. Let me try and remember, because this was many years ago. And I said that, because I was thinking about doing real estate photography because I was into photography. And I said, let me take the pictures for that property. And hold on, let me think. Maybe it didn't. I get confused because there's a couple of people that were key to me getting started. My client's agent. So the client bought a property. I got to know that my client's real estate agent, who was a commercial real estate agent. And I told that commercial real estate agent, let me take some pictures of your properties. I won't charge anything. Because I was just starting out. This was back in 2014 or 15. I mean, this was before I got into Olympus. I was using a Nikon. And I said, I'll take pictures of these properties for you. I think I did 4 or 5 of them for free when I started, because I didn't know anything about real estate photography. I had no hands-on real life experience. And he was very gracious to let me go to his properties and take pictures of them. And and that's how I learned how to do it in a real life scenario. So it was kind of a luck of the draw. It was kind of lucky how I got into it in that sense. I didn't have to work very hard to get clients. And after I did those properties, he was pretty impressed with them, right? So then he says, Rob, I want you to do another property for me. And then I charged him for that one. And I've been working with him ever since for the last 5-6 years. And over that time, by referral, you get other agents. And if you can get 5 or 6 agents sending you work regularly, you'll stay pretty busy. You don't need like hundreds of agents or hundreds of people calling you, and then you might get one job. You find some agents that really like your work, and you're reliable, right? You consistently deliver good work, then yeah, you'll be fine. But that's how I started. Because I didn't my skill set as a photographer wasn't that high back then either. So that's how I developed my skill set. Is I went out and I did jobs for free to practice. And then I watched a lot of Nathan Kuhl and Rich Baum videos, right? Those 2 real estate channels. And they taught me a lot about lighting and exposure and everything. And I've modified my workflow a little bit from what they do. That works best for me, but for the most part, their skill set is very, very high, and you can learn a lot from them, a lot more than you'll ever learn from me for real estate photography. Let's see. And James Mark Arson says, hi Rob, new Olympus user and have a live composite question. The first shot in live composite doesn't appear to capture anything. Is that normal? Yes, that's normal. I think that's for setting the base exposure in the camera. I don't know exactly what it's for, but my other camera doesn't do that. My other Olympus camera, it just starts the live comp right away. But the M10s and some of the other cameras, you take one picture to kind of set the base exposure, and then you start the live composite exposure on the second click. But it's normal. I looked at the Kula 360. I saw some reviews on it, but no, I didn't really look at it that hard. Like I said, I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I went mainstream with the 361R, so I can develop my skill set. And then once I got my skill set built up, I'll start looking at a little bit more about some hardcore cameras. Maybe even just using my Olympus cameras with a gimbal to do the 360 shots for very high quality level. But that's that. Oh, okay, James. I'm glad my tutorials helped you. The M10 Mark II is awesome. When I talk about 360 video, do I mean still walkthrough? Yes, still walkthroughs. I'm not talking about video itself, walkthrough. If I do a walkthrough video, I'm not using a 360. I'm talking about stills. So you click on you have a still image and you can rotate around 360, look up and down, but in that image you'll see another icon that you can click on that'll take you to the next room or the next step. And then once you click on that, it takes you to the next still image, and then you can rotate around and look around 360. In 15 minutes. Oh, thank you, John. Yes. Now 8 minutes. And what's wrong about Fuji cameras? Only tried the X10 back in 2015 and it's pretty good. Yeah, Fuji's make great cameras. I have 5 Fuji cameras myself, actually. The best one is quote unquote my XT30 is my best or most expensive Fuji. And then I got a bridge camera Fuji, I forget the model number. And then I have some pocket Fujis. But I never got into Fuji film cameras because the Olympuses are so good. I just didn't see a need to add Fuji to my bag in a big way. And 360 VR is what I'm learning now. Yes. So you might be better at it than me right now because I'm just I just cannot get good results. Maybe I just have to keep practicing so I get better and faster at it. But right now it's like when I think about trying to do 360 video, I'm like, oh, it's a chore right now. You know, because the learning curve, I'm still in this learning curve phase. And it's very frustrating for me. I mean, yeah, I can make a 360 tour, but it might take me all day and I'm not going to make money. You know, I need to be able to do a 360 tour in 30 minutes or an hour. If I can get it down to less than 1 hour to do a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot home, where I'm processing time is only about an hour, then it makes sense for me mentally, right? Because taking 360 pictures, you know, I can do that in less than an hour with the 360R. You know, I just set it down, take a picture, set it down, take a picture. And you can get through a house pretty quickly. And then but the post-processing is taking me hours and hours. And it's partially because I'm not used to the interfaces that you have when you're working with 360 videos. So clicking from one thing to the next is very cumbersome. And then organizing the layout. You know, all the things that go with creating 360 virtual tours. It's just a learning curve and a matter of practicing and getting good at it so I can do it faster. So it's getting there. We'll see. We'll see. It's when I make a 360 tour, I'll put it up online so you guys can see it, and then maybe I can start doing tutorials on it. But there's a lot of tutorials already. But anyhow, yeah, the transitions, right? Yeah, working with the software, building the transitions and the icons and making it smooth and leveling things. Oh my God, it's just it's definitely something I have to get. You know, it's very similar to like working with Olympus cameras, all the buttons and the menus. When you first get into it, it's like really cumbersome and hard to get around and do things that you want to do. And you know, even for me, when I first got it, I was like, man, this is like, but now I'm like a freaking surgeon, right? My thumb, I have all the muscle memory. Click, click, click. I go there, I go there. When something's not right, you know, my brain immediately goes to what might be causing that. I mean, I don't have the answers to everything, but when it comes to Olympus cameras, yeah, I can pretty much figure out anything I need to do with that camera and do it very quickly. And that's where I need to be at with 360 videos. I need to be like a surgeon, right? I need to be able to just get into the software, click, 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 and get things done. And I'm not there yet. So I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to build that up. So I'm thinking I might do the same thing where I offer a free 360 tour. Because they'll hire me for a photo job, and I'll say, look, I created a 360 tour. You know, you can have it for free because I did it while I was there. You didn't ask for it, but I did one anyway. And you can have this. So it'll be good practice for me. So for the last 3 properties, I've been doing 360 videos or 360 tour pictures. I've been doing 360 pictures in the last 3 jobs that I had. I didn't tell the client I did them, and I'm not offering it to them because they suck, right? But I did them because I was there and I need to practice, right? And then once I get to a level to where I think I can actually charge for a 360 virtual tour, I will do one for free or show them for free. And then if they want to buy or pay for it in the next job, you know, I'm ready, right? But okay, I have to, the coolest cheaper than the Matterport. Yeah. Yeah, I'll look at cameras more once I get my skill set down. I mean, I know the workflow is different for every camera. You know, the Ricoh Thetas have a very smooth workflow, I understand. The 360 had some, you know, I went with the 360R because of the video. I really like the video capabilities. I was thinking about doing it for vlogging, if nothing else. I can always use it for vlogging on my channel. But I bought it as a stepping stone into full-on 360 virtual tours and to build that skill set. So I have to go on to my next live streaming video where I do the photo editing. So I appreciate everyone that came in today, joining me this early in the morning. I may be on again tomorrow morning. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how today goes. But I appreciate your time with me this morning, and I'll see you again soon.